Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M1M, as you know, is the first global virtual accelerator in the world. We work with entrepreneurs all over the world with the mission of helping 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue, build $1 trillion of global GDP and 10 million jobs. And in support of that mission, we do these free mentoring roundtables every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and whatever that time is in your time zone. This is the 342nd of these sessions. So you will find recordings of every single session in our YouTube channel, and it's a, quite a fascinating romp through entrepreneurship ecosystems around the world. And you hear from entrepreneurs from everywhere. It's a very, very widespread, program. And we have the privilege of working with so many of you from so many different parts of the world, week after week after week. And it's been a real privilege to learn from you as well as be able to add a little bit to your journey. The recordings are all, as I said, on our YouTube channel. And this recording will be both on the blog and the YouTube channel, so you will be able to reference it afterwards. If you're live tweeting the show today, please use hashtag 1M1M. Our Twitter handles are at 1M by 1M and at Stromana is my personal one. We publish a lot of very interesting informational, educational, inspirational content through the Twitter channel, both of them. So please feel free to follow us there and access that content. The 1M1M Roundtables is the name of the channel on YouTube, so you will find tons of very interesting content, video content there, if video is the way you like to learn. These are the call-in instructions. We're not quite ready for call-in yet, but we will be, and we will, we would want you to participate. This is a roundtable, so it's not a broadcast. It's not a place where you come to listen to lectures. It's a place where you come to engage, and we want you to engage as much as possible. You will learn the most by engaging as much as possible. So keep that in mind, and I will put the slide up when we are ready for you to call in. But meanwhile, the public chat is open. You are welcome to participate through the public chat. Make sure you set it to send to all participants and not to me personally or to the host, to Maureen or to Shaul. We are going to be busy doing the first part of the program, so but feel free to ask questions in public chat. Let me welcome our guest, Shaul Weisband, as the first segment of the program. Shaul is the co-founder and CMO of Jifiti.com. Jifiti is a startup that Shaul will tell you about in a moment. Shaul, welcome. Great to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, Shaul, let's start by having you tell our audience what Jifiti is, what you do, what is the business.
Sure. What we do is we focus on gifting as a very specific subset of e-commerce. And what we do is we pretty much just work with retailers and brands to really unlock the $400 billion gifting market annually in the U.S. that many of them are missing out on, mainly because the experience for gifting and self-shopping are very, very different, and the vast majority of e-commerce sites and retailers are designed and optimized for shopping for yourself and not sending gifts or receiving gifts, and because of that, they lose a lot of sales. So what we've done is we've created a number of dedicated experiences for shoppers for when they want to send gifts, and allow them to do that very easily, seamlessly, in a much quicker way, but allow that way the retailers and brands to capture those sales that they usually lose out on when people are shopping for gifts, but yet the experience, it can be very difficult and complex when they want to send gifts.
But this is not where you started. Talk to us about where you started and how you managed to pivot to where you are currently.
Very true. So what we did is we started in around 2012. The original thought was really we were still in the gifting space. We were always in the gifting space, but there the thought was really a direct consumer application which allowed shoppers basically in physical stores, in shopping malls, to basically pick up items when they're shopping, scan them, put them on their own personalized wish list, and share them with their friends and family, and allow their friends and family to purchase those items for them and let them basically receive those gifts, walk out with them even from the store if they're still in the store. That was the original model, the original product, but quickly came to realize that, number one, it really wasn't working, but number two, the solution that we created, even on the back end, was solving a much larger problem on the retailer's end, and when we started realizing that, we made that switch to the B2B space where we started licensing the technology out for the retailers, and that's really where we saw our growth happen.
And what is your business model now after the pivot?
So our business model we have two business models. Number one is we have the enterprise solutions for larger retailers who use the system and it's white labeled, and we also have business model where we make a commission for any gift that is sold through our system. And I'll give a pretty simple example of how that works. The number one difficulty or barrier that people have when sending a gift, as an example, is knowing the recipient's shipping address, right? So when it comes to gifting, as opposed to self-shopping, when you're shopping for yourself and you see an item, you're going to know the fact, A, that you want that item, and you know your size, your color, and your shipping address. It's very, very easy. So it's very easy to breeze through the checkout process. When it comes to gifting, it's the only type of transaction in e-commerce that involves two different people. So if I'm purchasing that same exact item as a gift, but now I have to start making decisions for someone else, like what their size is, or basically even what their shipping address is, it can be very difficult to complete that. So our dedicated experience, for instance, the checkout allows gift purchasers to check out for the item, but not have to know a shipping address, for instance. They just put in the recipient's email, which today, what we know for most of our friends and family, put in an email or a cell phone number. The recipient receives that designed email. They unwrap the gifts online and simply put in their own shipping address, and only then the order is processed through the retailer who ships it. So when we can facilitate that sale, we take a commission on that gift because we are creating that sale that usually the sender would have fallen off at the point of the checkout when they had to know someone else's shipping address.
I see. Okay. And let's talk a little bit about your financing. You had the unusual fortune or misfortune, call it whatever, of having seed funding without much validation of your original concept, which, as you described, didn't really work. So how did you navigate the pivot with your investors?
Right. So yeah. So what we did was we exactly like you mentioned. We were fortunate to be able to raise a large seed round. We did a pre-seed, which really were able to get us to a working prototype, but our seed round, which was around $3.8 million in funding, was done before we went to the market. It was probably something you see pretty rare, but on the other hand, we had the strategic partners that we were looking at, mainly one of the largest shopping malls in the United States, who was interested in implementing the platform. And that enabled us to really develop the platform and go to market. But the problem was very quickly in that first holiday season when we started getting feedback and realizing that the user acquisition was very difficult. And that the main feedback from users were they loved the experience, but for instance, didn't want to ask for gifts, they wanted to send gifts. We very quickly realized that we were onto something else. But fortunately, we still had the money in the bank, and we had incredible both investors and board members that really supported us in really realizing. And I think that's something also in their credit to say that they realized that we were able to put our finger on the issue. We didn't kind of continue running kind of blindly, trying to do something that wasn't working. And it was a natural progression, really. And as much as it was a pivot, internally we saw it as a kind of like a natural step of what we developed and how we can offer our solution. And we started getting feedback from retailers that we were solving a bigger problem for them when it comes to their experiences on their websites. we were able to really modify the technology and the experience for them. And you know, our supporters and our board really realized that, and were very supportive of that, and it definitely paid off.
So if I double click down a little bit on that situation, you said you raised 3.8 million seed, and somewhere in the middle of that you switched gears. How much of that $3.8 million did you burn through to arrive at the conclusion that the retailers were really the market that you needed to go after?
So not a big chunk of it, mainly because we, you know, we planned it well, and we went to market, and you know, there were definitely some things where we could have done better in terms of MVP. You know, we developed the product, so on one hand, we developed something from end to end that didn't end up working, but on the other hand, we didn't go too crazy. You know, we could have probably done better in terms of the minimal viable product, but we realized pretty quickly. So we definitely had.
So you didn't really blow the Series A on experiments. You were early on in that Series A. I mean, you call it seed, but 3.8 million sounds more like a Series A.
Yeah, so we can call it, anyone can call it kind of anyway, but yeah, it was a large seed, and on a Series A level for sure. We didn't burn through all of it. We realized really quickly the potential and what we were doing, and the different marketplaces that we were able to be in. For instance, gift registry, where we saw a huge gap in the market on retailers level, where either it was too complex for them to develop or maintain, so we were able to use the technology for that. And at the same time, we also realized that another big difference when it comes to gifting was that it was very hard, even for the retailers, to find the customers exactly at the point of when they want to send a gift. And what we really wanted to do was identify those points on an online journey where someone has a reason to send a gift and bring that gift transaction to them. And that was a big jump for us, for instance, when we created a partnership with Evite.com, who is the largest digital invitation platform online, and we implemented our technology there. So basically, any of the retailers that we work with, which is basically over 150 national retailers, we enable the gift checkout to happen directly inside a digital invitation. So instead of having to bring someone to, for instance, Toys R Us or Barnes & Noble or Amazon, the second they got an invitation for an event where we know is the most natural spot for someone for a reason to send a gift, we were enabled them to purchase a gift directly inside that invitation. And I think that was a key factor that we were able to realize also on the gifting online journey that we consider. And that's also where we saw a big jump in terms of our activity and also growth and ability to raise another round.
And so let me just point out a few things, folks. Those of you who are listening, the reason I'm probing all this with Shaul is for you to understand that if you go through a round, a $3.8 million round without sufficient proof points, it would be impossible to raise another round. But what Shaul is describing is that very early on in that $3.8 million round, they managed to go ahead and do the pivot and find the product market fit with the retailers, and that is vital. So you absolutely have to get to product market fit as soon as possible if you have any hope of raising additional substantial rounds of financing. So, Shaul, back to you.
Yeah.
What was the average deal size of the retailer deals? You described two different business models. You described enterprise software licensing business model, and then you had a commission business model where only the email is available and the shipping address is not available. I imagine that in that time frame, in the Series A time frame or seed time frame, you were doing the first business model mostly, yes?
Correct, yes. So we were doing mainly that first model. And so there it's really kind of based on the transactions, and we were able to really, like I mentioned, get to those touch points where people have a reason to send a gift. And that's where you can see the volume, and we make that commission from those gift purchases. And on the second hand, and that's mainly in our solution for gift registry, that is more the enterprise level where obviously the deals The deals themselves are larger because it's an enterprise solution, but obviously it's got the other side to it where the sales cycle and so on. A good example for that is our first client for them was actually IKEA, who launched our gift registry, tested it in a single store in their test store in Portland, Oregon, and after testing it and really piloting it, actually this is just recent news, a couple weeks ago, they rolled out nationwide to all their U.S. stores using our gift registry technology. So on one hand, the enterprise level is definitely something that's reoccurring revenue for a startup, which is very important, and it has the SaaS fees. But on the other hand, it's something that you really have to be able to sit back and, on one hand, be able to support the sales cycle, both on a time and patience level, but also on a financial level. So that raising money can be very important for that as well.
So in the next time that you went out to raise funding, what were the metrics that you went out with? How many of these retailers did you have in your bag? What kind of revenues were you generating? What kind of average deal size were you presenting to the investors?
So at the time, like I mentioned, we raised our what we considered a seed round in 2012. In 2015, we raised our next round, which we called the seed round, which was $3.3 million. And that we considered really kind of like a growth round where we can use to basically continue to develop the products and the proof of concepts. That was actually led by a strategic investor who's the owner of actually Evite. When they saw the success of Evite, they realized the potential in what we were doing, both for their other brands and other brands there. So we were definitely we saw it more of a success on I think on the proof of concept level that it's actually working, and that money was really used to scale. So and by us, the KPIs are always going to be on that level, which is the volume that we can create, the gifts. Evite has been doing very well. Since then, we've created a partnership with American Greetings, who's the largest greeting card company. So today, if you go to their website and send a electronic greeting card, you can actually attach a gift to it through our technology. So just another good example of realizing another point of online where someone has a reason to send a gift. And once we've proven that concept with Evite, we were able to raise that money and basically duplicate that, A, for other platforms, and B, for other retailers that would want to use our platforms as well.
So the Evite deal was already done by the time you, not the investment deal, but the partnership deal was already done by the time you raised the 2015 $3.3 million round?
Yes, that was really right at the beginning there, and then we started seeing the success. And that's something I think that we've really done well at taking advantage of, and I think many entrepreneurs can really learn from. When you're coming to raise a round, there's a few kind of things that can really give you that backing for being able to raise the round, right? So it could be incredible traction where you have incredible amounts of users, and it could be either volume in terms of eyeballs or in terms of revenue. But on the other hand, you can also have that strategic partnerships in place where you're proving a concept and you're proving it that it works, and that's something that you can duplicate. And I think at every level of our stage, we were able to, first of all, be able to create those, show the value that we provide, use that to create partnerships, strategic partnerships, and use those strategic partnerships to show the potential and raise money through that. And that's back to one of your points that you mentioned. We're very big believers in failing quickly. We try things, we see what works, and entrepreneurs should definitely not be scared of failing very quickly, because the quicker you fail, the quicker you're able to realize that there are other opportunities and use your resources to do what's right. And we've seen that. We've seen that in other platforms of ours. We've either on points online where we put the transaction and seen it hasn't worked, or platforms in general. And really the goal is to focus on what is working and pour the gasoline on those fires as opposed to trying to light other fires.
Well, I think there are two other observations I have based on your experience, the story that you're telling. One is that investors especially those of you who are trying to raise angel or venture capital money, are trying to grow businesses incredibly fast. They're looking for hyper-fast growth. So they're looking to go from 0 to 100 million in 5 to 6 years, 7 years maybe maximum. Now, for that, these kinds of partnerships, strategic partnerships, are very good indicators and very good opportunities for acceleration opportunities, right? So how are you going to, if you're going to have to do, if you have to acquire every customer individually and it's a long sales cycle, long enterprise software sales cycle, those kinds of businesses don't grow that fast, right? So if you can show accelerators, like in your case, the Evite deal, the American Greetings deal, these are acceleration points, and those would typically signal to investors that, yes, this company is going to grow at the kind of pace that we would want to. The other observation I have, yeah, go ahead.
No,
you want to add to
you're
that?
absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
The other observation I have, Shaul, is that you have used strategic partnerships very effectively, and including as equity partners, right? So bringing Evite on as an equity partner also does something specific to a company. The strategic partners don't have the same hyper-growth goals. They have good growth goals. They're ambitious about growth. They want to grow a business and all of that, but they don't necessarily have the same level of growth goals as the VCs and the angels have. So angels want to grow fast because they want to, attract VC money and hand that over to the VCs as follow-on financing partners. But strategic partners have other reasons why they're doing this. They are doing it because you have strategic value to their business, and their growth goals are somewhat more manageable than this hyper-growth requirements of VCs and angels. And I find that something worth pointing out because, hyper-growth is not a natural state. Very, very few businesses grow from 0 to 100 million in 5, 6, 7 years. So if your success bar is so high, very often companies go out of business because of such absurd growth requirements of their financial partners. So I think, the lesson that I would like you to kind of pay attention to in Shaul's story, folks, those of you who are listening, is that if you can bring in strategic partners, it does a lot of things. It gives you acceleration points, but if you can bring them in as equity partners, it also puts a little bit of a brake on the expectations your investors have from you. Shaul, would you like to add to that?
For sure. So, yes, you're absolutely right. And, of course, you have to also mention that there are some risks in involving equity and partners, or, for instance, what you would consider a client. Bringing a client in as an equity holder can sometimes be tricky in terms of conflict of interest. They might want to do something. You want to do something else, working with other people that are competitors of theirs.
Yeah.
In our specific case, for instance, the actual investor was Liberty Media, who owns Evite and many other companies, and they actually have a venture arm that they invested through. So yeah, so there's a lot of value and benefits for having that strategic partnerships. You sometimes have to really be able to really make sure that you're working with the right people and your goals are aligned. But number two, you're also absolutely right in terms of the expectations, and you also have to remember that sometimes you have to make sure there's nothing wrong with the expectations of what VCs and accelerated growth. Many times you don't want to get stuck in a nice point where you're happy where you are. Growth and growing quickly is something that's very that's important, and you sometimes really need that push to that direction. So there's definitely a balance between the two, and many times it also has to do with the space that you're in. Us being in the retail space, we've always felt that the strategic partnerships had more of a benefit than the VCs because being able to go through that long process and know exactly what the minds of the retail is and where it's going and where it's shifting to brought a lot of value to us. So on both hands, you're exactly right in terms of the value, but a lot of times you have to make sure that your goals are aligned and it really works out well in terms of that partnership.
And I think the last point that we should highlight, you already said that, let me underscore that, is that just understanding of the business, right? In this case, retailers understand the business, and people who have awareness of the gifting process understand the business that you're in a lot better than random people. And this is something, by the way, let me point you to another episode of this one-on-one and strategy roundtable, where the guest was Daniel Kane, and his company is Modernizing Medicine, and he raised 100% of his equity from doctors, because his audience was doctors, and they were both his customers as well as his equity shareholders. And he raised round after round from his customers. And part of what he said was valuable there was just as people were very knowledgeable and understood the value proposition immediately. And secondly, once they became customers, they became very vocal customers. So they told everybody and their mother that, this is a product that I really like. We're using this product. Please buy the product. So as a result, they became great, reference accounts. And because they had ownership in the company, they were motivated and incentivized to do that kind of, active advocacy. So
sure, and a big part of that is market validation.
Yeah, exactly. Part of it is market validation, absolutely. So terrific. Shaul, if you're, I heard that you're going to stay for a little bit. Shall we switch to the mentoring portion of the session today? So we have three presenters, three entrepreneurs who are going to be presenting. Let me set a little bit of expectations. Remember, this is a working session. We are here to bring you knowledge and expertise and stuff that you can accelerate your business with. We're an accelerator, so don't feel defensive, don't feel scared or nervous or anything. We are on your side. We are here to help you make decisions and talk about your issues, things that you're struggling with, and see what we can do to help you steer through those issues, those roadblocks. You may disagree with our feedback, and that's perfectly all right. It's your business. You're going to do whatever you think is the right thing to do. Consider the feedback, see what makes sense to you, and accordingly make your decision. There's one thing you do need to remember, though. Not all businesses can raise money. Especially raising money from VCs, angels and VCs, requires that you have this hyper growth built into what you're presenting to them, what you're pitching to them. And that is, bulk of the businesses don't have those characteristics. Not all businesses can raise money, not all businesses should raise money, and raising money doesn't guarantee success. Some of you might be readers of our blog. There is a series that we've been publishing since the beginning of this year, Dead by Overfunding. We have shown you company after company, including a very successful retailer, Nasty Gal, that went out of business with excessive amounts of funding and this excessive pressure to, grow faster. They were already growing fast, and they were under pressure to grow faster, and they just imploded under that kind of pressure. So these are, these are pitfalls that you're going to need to avoid, and at the end of the day, you're going to need to protect your own interest. Investors have a portfolio. They can have 9 companies fail, and if one company succeeds, that generates the returns on their portfolio. You, as an entrepreneur, do not have a portfolio. I, as an entrepreneur, do not have a portfolio. We have to make our businesses successful. We can't fail, because if you spend 7, 8, 9 years in a business and it fails, it's a lot of energy and a lot of career runway that goes out of the window right there. So we don't have the luxury of portfolio management and so on and so forth. We have to at least preserve our, success probabilities relatively high. And if you're not pitching today, as I said earlier, please participate in public chat, and I will also open up the line for calling in and dialoguing as well. We're starting with P. Nataraj from Chennai, India. Nataraj, please go ahead and unmute your line and tell us what you're working on.
Hey, good morning, good evening. I'm Nataraj. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Tecruitr. We are a HR consultancy. So as the name suggests, we help companies to hire faster. And can go to the next slide. Okay, so these are our main customers, primarily technology companies that hire software and electronics engineers, and more specifically the small and medium-sized companies who do not have the luxury of having a dedicated recruiter or a full-fledged recruitment team. We are focused on software and electronics domains as of now because that's where we have a good handle on, and as time goes, we will move to other domains as well. And this is the customer problem we face. So companies, big or small, always have difficulty hiring right talent. And the primary reason we feel it is because the shortlisting process. So most of them shortlist the candidates for interview based on keyword search in resumes, which results in a lot of unqualified candidates pitching for a job. And we felt that there is a critical part that is missing in the shortlisting process, which is assessment. So our solution assesses candidates before sharing the profiles to the clients. And this helps in increasing the hiring hit rate. Our commitment is our candidates cannot be rejected on technical grounds. So that's our commitment to our clients. And yeah, I can go to the next slide.
So Nataraj, I have a question before we go to the next slide.
Sure.
You have, on this slide, you have your patented AI-based interview platform.
Correct.
Can you talk, so AI is a buzzword these days, everybody is sticking AI everywhere. Can you talk about what is special about your algorithm? What does it allow you to do that other people cannot do? What is the unfair advantage that AI gives you?
So what happens is, I think I'll be able to better explain that during the competition analysis.
Okay, sure,
okay.
Go for it.
So we have four quadrants here. So the one on the bottom left are the companies which just pushes resumes and no skill assessment there. And the one on the right side, the bottom right bottom, they do some part of intelligent analysis based on the candidate's work history and his university and his willingness to switch and such other things. But the one on the top right are our primary competitors. Sorry, top left are our primary competitors. Okay, so these companies, they use assessment. Okay, but they are not using AI. By not using AI, what we mean is it's a fixed test. So let's say you have a test that runs for half an hour. So what you can guarantee from the test is whether the candidate is able to answer that question or not. It does not necessarily say whether the candidate possesses that skill or not. And owing to this, in a given span of 30 minutes, when 3,000 candidates attend the test, a good number of them, probably 2,000 to 2,500 people, will tend to get the top mark. So not much of shortlisting happens there. And this is what we have found with the leader in this category, HackerRank, who's even a toughest test, which has about 5,000 candidates. About 3,000 candidates score 25 out of 25. So not much shortlisting happens there. So what we do different is we assess the candidates progressively. So we don't have fixed set of questions. We first ask a question, and based on his response, we ask the next question. So the toughness of the question increases or decreases depending on the previous response. So in a span of, let's say, half an hour, the system will be able to assess the candidate on what he knows and what he doesn't know. And basically, the interview stops only after he is able to completely break the candidate, saying, okay, he does not know this and he or she knows this. And where the AI and deep machine learning comes is, when a candidate says a new word, what it does is it searches for such new words which it doesn't know in our repository, and it also does data mining in the general web search or some other place and tries to assess the answer online. And if it is not able to do that, it will try to do it offline, or it will send the information to us saying that there is some lag here where I am feeling and there is a gap here, so I need your help in learning this. So as the system progresses, the system will be able, initially we need to guide the system, but as the system progresses over a period of time, the system will be able to conduct interviews automatically on its own, which gives us enormous bandwidth to access any number of candidates. So this is the technology that we have patented. We have filed the patent. It is not done.
And where do these other guys like Glider, HireVue, TalView, these stand? Where are what are their capabilities? How do you compete with them, or how do you compare with them?
Correct. So Glider, HireVue, and TalView, they are the combination of the top left and bottom right. So they use traditional assessment, and they use artificial intelligence to shortlist the resumes. They don't do progressive assessment.
Okay.
So this is our business model, and we charge a recruitment fee, and we also have some premium features which we plan to add over a period of time. But right now we don't have any such premium features. We only charge our companies on successful hiring.
What is freemium about this?
There are few things that right now it is only free, but there are few things that we plan to add in future. Future in the sense 2 years down the line, we are planning to add psychometric analysis and online video interviews to allow the companies to conduct interviews, and such things, and it will have certain features which are not part of the regular online video platforms today, like a scratch pad to allow the interviewers to ask questions, and the candidates can write in their program there, and it will execute. So such features are part of the premium plan, but they are not decided now. So
don't get caught up in freemium. Freemium is not a good model to build businesses with. Free trial is okay. In whatever it is you're doing, don't get hung up on freemium. Premium is a big time sink and doesn't convert.
Okay. So what we are doing currently is we are building our AI platform, and right now we have about 11 customers, and our average account size is 3 lakhs. And today, so far, we have generated 60,000 in revenue, and we have orders with 3 lakhs.
3 lakhs is about $5,000 per annum.
Correct.
So you have 11 customers with $5,000 who are paying $5,000 per year. That's where you are currently.
Have the potential to pay 5,000 if we have those 11 customers. If they all hire a good number of candidates through us, there is a potential for us to generate 3 lakhs.
Okay, and this 60,000 rupees, that's something that you have actually generated so far.
Correct.
And that's nominal, really. Okay, got it. So
there is one more thing. We don't have the AI platform yet. The AI platform is under development. So the revenue so far, what we have generated is we did the AI part manually. So we went to colleges, we conducted tests and interviews, and we shared the pre-assessed profile to the candidates. So whatever the AI is supposed to do, we thought we will try to raise some revenues, and we thought we will start operational by doing this offline mode, and we started with it. But we spoke with several people, and they all said if you start doing this offline model, you will lose all your energy. So you better start focusing on building the AI platform. So that's how it is today.
So the question you're asking is, can you raise money from an accelerator? K-Start is the acceleration program of Kalari Capital, right? That's what your question is.
Correct.
And you're talking about, what, about $50,000 worth of seed money?
Approximately 50. Correct.
Roughly $50,000 worth of seed money. So the question that you're going to have to wrestle with here is that, can you convince them that you do have a differentiated AI platform that you can deliver? Because if your current work is, or all the revenues and everything are based on manually fulfilling these customer requirements, I don't think you will be able to raise money from any investor.
Okay.
because they're not looking to do a manual technical hiring company.
Correct. Correct. We are not.
So the question that I would ask, that's number one. Number two is you're going to need to, spin this such that you can show a fast growth company. Remember, as we were talking, Shaul and I, we told you that angels and VCs are looking for a $0 to $100 million trajectory in 5 to 7 years. So you have to be able to give, so in your pitch, you're going to need to be able to convince them that this is that kind of a company. And your current pitch doesn't do that. So, you need to put together a pitch that carries that energy. We can help you do that, but that's something that's not there in your pitch right now. And then the big vital question is that how do we convince investors that this is going to be an AI-driven company, not a manually recruiting set of, procedures.
Okay. No, I don't understand this question. Meaning, you were saying after raising money, we may continue to run it manually. Meaning,
no, it's not a question of you will continue to run it manually. It's a question of do you have the ability to deliver AI algorithms? AI is not Ruby Rails programming. AI is very complex stuff. So if I am evaluating whether I want to invest in you, I need to be convinced that you have it in you to deliver something serious in AI.
Correct. Okay. So,
Shaul, do you have some perspective? Hold on 1 second, Nataraj. Shaul, do you have perspective to offer, Nataraj?
Well, no, first of all, I definitely agree with you in terms of, look, the beginning of every company is definitely starting at manual in terms of the concept and everything. But in this case, if it's based on AI, you're absolutely right. That's something that, the investors aren't going to be investing in another HR company. But my question would be also at the state of where AI is today, where it's not, I don't think there's anyone in the world who really feels that it's in a place where it's 100% complete, especially when you're talking about such a very sensitive process of hiring people. Are you going to be able to get the AI to the point where people can really trust it and not go down a route where they're really finding the perfect match for their hires, and is it going to perform better than what happens today? And I think those are the answers you're going to have to give to show the value and potential of the platform.
Yeah, and I think all of you who are looking at doing AI companies or working on AI-driven companies are going to have to face this problem to some extent, because the big question around AI in every domain that you want to apply it to is, does it work? Do you know how to make this work, and can you make this work? So this is a question that is going to be difficult for investors to gauge, and you have to somehow be able to explain and convince investors that you do have it in you to be able to make this work, and it is going to work, and that is going to be a very tricky process for every single AI entrepreneur.
Okay, so if I understand you right, if I have the right team who have the credentials who have built such AI platforms, it will be of help at this moment.
There is a chance that you might be able to get money at this point, if that is the case. Yeah.
Okay, so
it's not a guarantee, but it enhances your probability of getting funding a little bit.
Okay. So I have one more question. Let's say I have the MVP in another 4 months. What are the chances at that time? Will it be how better it is as of today than that time?
Well, the way I would do this, Nataraj, is I would continue to do these manual accounts. I would continue to close manual customers and continue to keep cash coming. So if you can go from 11 customers to 100 customers, and while refining your product, and then replace in actually implementing these customers, if you can gradually bring in, as your MVP gets done, I would bring in the product to actually validate and show that it does work. Because the question is, does it work? An MVP that doesn't show that it works in customer scenarios is of little value. The question around AI, and this, by the way, is not just for you. I was interviewing recently the chief product officer of Sugar CRM. Sugar CRM is betting heavily on AI, and their product doesn't work yet. So it's all, futures. They're selling futures. And I asked him exactly the same. I said, after I listened to his pitch, I told him exactly the same thing. If your product works, it's going to be selling like hotcakes. But the big question, the $1 million or $1 billion question is, does it work? Will it work? They don't know. And he agreed that they don't know whether it will work or not.
Yeah, that's right. But only problem with adding 100 customers at this moment, right? It just takes a lot of energy. And what we are...
Entrepreneurship takes a lot of energy, Nataraj. There's no going around. A lot of energy as far as entrepreneurship is concerned.
No, it's not about just a lot of energy. What I'm saying is, what we feel is not efficient. It takes a lot of time to interview candidates manually, and filling these positions is not easy. So when you have 100 customers, and each of them have 5 or 10 requirements, it takes a hell of a lot of time to do that, and we may never be able to fulfill it ourselves. We may have to hire a lot of seasoned interviewers. And
well, that's where if your software can actually help that process, that's your value proposition, right? That software is going to expedite that process. So maybe then your MVP is the point at which you expect your MVP to be done is when you try to time such that you have 100 customers when the MVP is ready and people are ready to use the MVP. So you can play with the timeline, but you do need customer validation. Without customer validation of your software, I think this is going to be a very difficult company to fund.
Correct. So just one more question. Sorry for taking time. So is it necessary for me to reach to 100 customers and do this validation, or can I just do this validation with just these 11 customers?
That's fine. 11 customers is fine.
Okay.
If your software works on 11 customers, that is fine. The reason I said 100 customers is because there is also cash involved. You're only getting $5,000 per annum. So on a monthly basis, your monthly revenue run rate is very low. The reason I suggest that you get more customers is so that you can keep the lights running.
Yeah. But when I add those 100 customers, my revenue may be higher, but my cash flow may not be positive. I may have to sell out a lot of cash.
Well, in any case, I need to move on, and I'm happy to help you further to plan how to manage this situation. It is a tricky situation, but it's something that needs to be. There's no point trying to do AI companies without validation. It's not you will not be able to raise money.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Sunal Jain is next from Bangalore, India.
Hi, Sarmana. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Go
ahead. Great. Thank you for having me here, and thanks to Shaul for sharing his journey. Truly inspiring. We need to hear it time to time. Right. So moving on, I'll just dive to what we've built over a certain time. Campture is, as a traveler, I'm an avid traveler, and we built Campture so we can enable better discovery and helping people to find new locations, itineraries, and making sure their expectations for a travel are as good as before they leave for travel. Next slide, please. Right. So current problem that we see is those online payments and all these packages and tools, the travel has become very consistent and efficient, which is a good thing in a way. But it costs you the at authentic and experiential level of it. So this is like I went down to Paris a couple of years ago, and I had a lot of expectations about seeing the art and the Mona Lisa. I mean, I could barely see the painting, and it's all kind of expectations you go on a trip with, but they're not ever met. And so, like students purchase these packages that they get, and they miss out on these local experiences. And a lot of people, they're heavy on sightseeing, and they have a checklist of seeing and everything and taking a photo and moving on, but they don't discover unique places. So this is where Campture was born with that philosophy. Can you please go to the next slide? So Campture, we plan on helping users to find unique locations and curated information and getting more experience out of the travel. We allow them to create and track their entire travel in a timeline format. So it's going to be crowdsourced. That is what we're aiming for right now. If everybody went on travel and shared their information like they do on Instagram, but instead of it was there on Campture, it would create a complete guide and a complete timeline of wherever experience that I've had. I can give location check-ins, and we create automated map routes as well. And you can follow different travelers around the globe and follow their experiences, create a list out of those experiences, what you want to go and experience. We also plan on making vetting these locations and adding more information that other users are putting in the platform and curating a tip section and reviews, and if you can connect to those particular people who have gone there. And in future, we also plan on getting on board some travel agencies and tour operators who can fulfill these experiential travel. Can you go to the next slide, please? Right, so this is Campture, what we've created so far. It's a crowdsourcing place where you can share your adventure trips, stories with everyone. So it's for the way I describe it is like inspiration plays a huge part when you travel. And so we describe it as, you can look at Campture as like a Pinterest, where you can come and see a whole lot of experiences that people are seeing, and you can find content and as good as Medium because it's crowdsourced. So we plan on inspiring the users and giving them an actionable itinerary that we create through Campture timeline. Move on to the next one, please. So this is on the web platform. It is where like travel enthusiasts, bloggers, writers, and brands can come and load in their content, and we serve as a distribution platform for them. On the mobile app side, the consumer can read and discover things as they're on the go. They can also use the app for adding instantaneously their experiences, their location check-ins, and as they do, we find the best possible route within the Google Map, and they can, if anybody else wants to follow their travel experiences, they can find the spot easily, and they can also add these individual points to their bucket list or something that they want to do when they land in a certain place. Next slide, please. So we understand that the power users right now for us are bloggers and travel enthusiasts who want to use this platform. So we've created the app where you can have all-in-one photos, location, notes, and we automatically create your routes. For a blogger, it is very essential to have like a note-making app that they can use, and they can upload their photos. They can remember their moments and what their feelings that they are. When you're on a trip and you see like an amazing place, you obviously click photos, and you have some emotion. You can capture that instantaneously. And apart from that, you can also embed the entire experience content, because we understand bloggers take a lot of pain and effort to start a blog, create it, and market themselves. And we don't want to take them away from their blog. We want them to use Campture and embed it in their blog. So you can just use Campture app as a note-making app, have their entire detailed itinerary and trip, and they can just embed the timeline in their current existing WordPress site or whatever site they have, and it will run right there. They can also follow other travelers and engage with them. We are trying to go for a community kind of an approach here. Next slide, please. So this is the customer acquisition strategy, is that to incentivize bloggers firstly. Sharing definitely is on very high for us, because the more content we share on social media, the more eyeballs and the more people get to know about such places, and it helps spread the word as well. Gamification is something that we have not implemented yet, but we are on the process. It will improve approximately 20% of engagement on our platform. The referral and viral marketing, we want to make sure that the people can refer our site to everybody else, and they can let their family and friends follow their trip privately as well if they want, if they don't want to share it with the world. Since we are having a lot of content coming in, we definitely would be heavily into content marketing, making sure that the content is reaching to the users. SEO definitely down the line we are focusing on. I think one of the biggest places that we have found our customers, our users, are Facebook groups and these forums. They are amazing place to just to know about how they think about the product, and also they love sharing their photos and stuff from us. We are going to move on to events and meetups offline, which is we're going to take up independently here and maybe organizing a small travel talk or some kind of meetups as well. Next slide of you already on the next slide. How it works is like there is a publishing platform for brands. You can create travelogues, content creation process. We are on mobile and desktop. It all gets synced up. And through that, there are 3 channels that we're targeting right now, is Google Ads and paid ads for we've talked to Decathlon in Bangalore, and they've shown interest in, displaying their ads on our site because, they sell adventure gear and the travel gear as well. So we are kind of a perfect fit for them to find their customers as well. We had done a pilot for 2 months in selling Leh-Ladakh trips offline. And we had some good results with that and made some revenue as well. And we're planning on maybe onboarding and vetting good vendors who can give experiential trips on board, and people can buy those trips as well. And of course, we would definitely open the RSS feed for our content for our other media sites so that they can advertise with us and we can share our content as well. So far, we started with the blog. Campture timeline was never in the picture at that time. We were looking on selling trips online at that time, and we were sharing our own travel experiences. So we created a quick Facebook page and we started posting up stuff online. And our content was very well received here. We went viral over a duration of 4 months on and off. The picture that I have on the top right side is for the engagement that we received on our Facebook page during that time. It was 4 million. In this month, it was 12 million. So the content definitely what we're pushing out, people are definitely loving it. It was featured by Business Insider as well. So we understood a lot of people were asking questions about hiking. It's a newly activity in India. So we created a quick gear checklist so you can just add your location where you're going, how many days, and we suggest you what you should have in your backpack. And we linked we partnered with Amazon with affiliate marketing, and we had a lot of stuff that they could buy on Amazon as well. We would just want to set the right word so that people can get the right gear for where they were heading. Then we started the trip selling pilot for Leh-Ladakh this year. We were able to generate about 8.5 lakhs sales from that, and it went good. We did a pilot, and now Leh-Ladakh is in Europe, so we're thinking of maybe focusing more on that sometime. So during the time, all the competitors that you see on the left-hand side are Indian competitors of ours, and we had the most viral content and in that time, and we had so many Holiday IQ has 1.7 million users on Facebook. So this is what we've been doing so far, and this is what we've been working on.
I have a question. You said you generated a bit of revenue. What model? Is that affiliate fees from Amazon? Is that how you generated the revenue?
Amazon affiliate fee was very small. We were able to sell about not more than 15 products during the time. The major revenue that we generated was by doing experiential trips in Leh-Ladakh. We partnered with about 25 partners all over India, but we chose Ladakh because it was a good season that time. And we were able to make sales for about 8.5 lakhs during that time. But it was more of an offline experiential.
I'm trying to get to a business model that works for you. So explain to me, what is the business model that you think is working? Because I don't believe, these content sites with advertising is going to be a scalable business model. Most certainly not a financeable business. You can do it potentially as a lifestyle business, side business kind of thing. But advertising is not going to build a business here.
Yeah, that is true. We've pondered on that. So what we have done in the last couple of months is that we have partnered with Viator. I'm sure you must be aware of that. And we're planning on selling Viator trips on our sites. So when a user makes its timeline, whatever location they check in, there will be an option of viewing tours on that particular place. As soon as the user clicks on viewing tours, and maybe in Peru, there's a check-in in Peru, to open up a modal on the right-hand side that will show them all the tools and travel opportunities that are there globally.
And what does that do? In terms of revenue model, what is that doing to you? How much revenue do you generate by selling a trip?
Right. So if Viator is giving us about 5 to 7% of affiliate marketing fee, but in India, we did the whole offline thing. We deep dive and partnered with our vendors here, and we made the itinerary with our clients, and we were able to. We have about 30% margin there. So if we do it locally here in India, we of course have a higher margin rate. And if we tie up with these local vendors, local tour operators, anywhere in the world, we tied up with the agency in Africa as well and in Peru as well. So the margins are pretty significantly high if you tie it up directly. But since we are small and we don't, so we are taking help of Viator right now to just maybe see a product market fit and see if people are actually trying to buy it with this concept. But if it is successful, we can definitely go ahead and tie up with local vendors as well.
These are not fast growth business models. If you have to go tie up with every single tour operator, these are not fast growth business models, and that's going to be a problem. What did we say earlier? If you're looking for institutional investors, professional investors, institutional investors to invest in your company, they're looking to go from 0 to 100 million in 5, 6, 7 years. And can you show that kind of hyper growth in your business model? And I don't see that in your business model, so that's a question mark. And that answers your question 2 and 3. There are lots of issues on your product as well that I can comment on. We have only a little bit of time, so I'll give you some tips of the iceberg pointers. I actually wrote an article some time back, maybe a year ago or something like that, about build me this travel planning app and then build me this travelog app, where I specified I'm an avid traveler, so and I have a very specific way of traveling. I do all my travel planning myself. So those articles you may want to refer to. They will give you some ideas about what you have seen those articles. Okay, good. So the thing that what worries me about the product and the user experience that you're showing here is that you have a separate app where all this is happening, whereas I don't want to go to all this in a separate app that doesn't publish onto Facebook, because my audience for this kind of stuff, I have a huge audience on LinkedIn, but I don't publish travelogues and trip-related stuff on LinkedIn. I publish them on Facebook, and that's where the people that would be interested in looking at I want to engage with them there. That's number one. So in terms of publishing what you're expecting people to publish, you need to ensure that you are tapping into people's existing communities. So this question that you have about community, you need the user experience needs to tie into people's existing community, and without the expectation that they're going to bring their communities onto your app. That's just not going to happen. I'm not going to bring all my friends and people who read my travelogues onto your platform. That's just not reasonable to expect.
No, I absolutely agree with you. So we're actually trying to make sure that you share on Facebook as well. So if you share through our app, you can share it through on your Facebook platform as well. I mean, we understand, but on Facebook, you have your audience and you have your friends and community there. You want to share it with them, so you can do it both. When you publish it through Campture, you can share it and publish it on Facebook as well.
Right. So, okay, the last point that I'm going to make, and there's a whole lot of other points around trip planning what I'm looking for is the way I plan my trips. Let's say I'm in Paris, and I'm going to be in Paris in July. I'm actually in the middle of this exercise. I haven't yet even fully done it, but the way I look at it is I kind of pick, okay, today I'm going to spend time, my anchor, itinerary items are, let's say, the Picasso Museum, and I want to be in that area, in the Marais area, and I would like to see all the different things. I want to see boutiques in that area. I want to know where I could have breakfast. I want to know where I could have lunch, and I think I would like to have a Moroccan lunch, etc. So I want to be able to give all that input, and I want your app to go kind of map out the itinerary of, including checking stuff like, let's say I try to plan this itinerary for a, Monday, and your app should be able to tell me that, sorry, on Monday, Picasso Museum is not open. So you better change this itinerary to a different day, etc. These kinds of nuances. And then whatever restaurant reservations need to be made, I want your app to go ahead and make those restaurant reservations. Otherwise, and in terms of finding unique experiences, you can give me, okay, in this region, in this area of the city, or wherever you're going, these are some of the unique local experience. You choose which ones you want to factor into your itinerary, and we will find the best, the optimal route, for, go do this first and then go to this and go to that, because I do all this manually. Today, I'm doing all of these things manually.
Got it.
All right, so those are my, feedback points. We can talk for 15 hours on this topic, but right now I have to move on to Ranjan. But good luck.
All right, sure. Thank you so much, Chandra. Yeah.
You're very welcome. Ranjan, you are up next.
Hi, Stefan. Good morning, and folks, good evening, everybody. This is Ranjan from Bangalore, and I am a very courtier person. I mean, one-liner. When the situation is quite hot, I generally give one-liner to loosen the environment. And I am going to present my startup, the idea, and we are in pretty much in prototype stage. Next slide. Okay. I'm trying to bring innovation to retail sector of India, especially the unorganized retail sector, and the market. The potential of unorganized retail sector in India is $1 trillion, but the technology innovation to this sector is almost not there, because the unorganized retail sectors, they are very small, and they serve the small locality, and they do not feel to use the technology. But with globalization, with internet, with computer and a laptop and mobile phones, these small retail shops, so they are getting squeezed. In the sense, the global players are Walmart, Tesco, then in Amazon. They are coming into India. They're flourishing their services. So the revenue, the business of these small retail shops, so they're getting squeezed. At the same time, the consumers, they are now shifting from these small retail shops to the big players, online shops. So the whole the retail market, the unorganized sector, which is something more than 90% of the retail market of India, is now in a very not in a good shape. Next slide. So I am trying to bring the technology to this sector by putting a solution in web app or mobile app, so that the retailers, they can publish their product and services, their offers, their discounts, location of their shop, and they can create the offer online. They can publish their offers to social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, and at the same time, they can see the consumer behavior to change their pattern of business. And at the other hand, the consumers, they can discover their local retail shops, local offerings, and they can strategize their shopping a monthly or weekly basis. I'll give an example. I am a middle class person, and I generally go once in a week or once in a month to the market to buy some groceries, some items. But what happens, I generally visit a couple of stores to get a competitive deal, because I don't know which shop provides me a competitive deal. So if I had the information beforehand, before I went to the market, I know exactly which shop, what is the price and what is the competitive price, then directly I can go to that particular shop, and which would help me to save my time and money. So this is where I want to play my startup, and I want to provide a solution which would help the consumer and the retailer to bond together. And next slide, please. So what could be my go-to strategy? So India, the consumer mentality is like value for money. So that means unless until we have unless until the consumer do not get a good value for the money, they will never go for it. So to make my application widely accepted by the consumer, I would utilize the coupons from the free charge or the Paytm, and I would kind of providing these things to the consumers and to help them to use my app. At the same time, in the merchant's place, I would have a very nice deal with them that based on their volume of business per month, they will be getting some discounts or some freebies. That is my strategy of go-to-market. And I would be utilizing the data collected from these consumers and the retailers to provide a data analytics solution to the wholesalers to strategize their market to big location. So next slide, please. And how I'm going to get the revenue. In the beginning, any questions, Shamanu, on anybody?
Well, I have some feedback for you, Ranjan. The thing that worries me is that you are going after a segment, you know, these unorganized retail sector is full of people, the shopkeepers, the shop owners are not tech savvy. So selling solutions to them is going to be an uphill battle. You're going to need to do very high touch selling on a sector that is going to have very low budgets. And that is a combination that does not result in successful businesses. So long sales cycles, high touch sales requirements, but very low budgets does not create fast growth businesses and does not create successful businesses.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. Recently there is a Reliance, the telecom provider, they have launched 4G model, which is kind of very widely accepted across India. So nowadays, this internet and the mobile, that is almost reached the very low, very deep inside the villages of India. At the same time, there is no solution that would help to use this infrastructure for the benefit of the consumer. They use this. I have gone to my village, which is very far away from Bangalore, and I have seen the internet connection there. The 4G connection is far better than the Bangalore. But what happens? The people there, they use this, internet and mobile connection for Facebook, social media, WhatsApp. They are not utilizing this for some productive that would help them. And in the villages especially, the folks, they go to the town once in a month or once in a week to get their necessities. And if my app, if my solution could help them to know exactly the offerings in a city, the grocery details, the market, and the price, then they would definitely use this app. So I'm trying to focus more into the other segment of city, not exactly the city centric, rather village centric.
So Ranjan, let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you have a job? Are you doing this on the side and not full time?
No, I'm doing full time.
You're doing full time. Wow. Okay, yes. This is going to be difficult. So my point is this, and what is your aspiration? Are you trying to build a fast growth venture style company, or are you trying to build a bootstrap business?
No, I would like to bring, make a very large, startup.
So that I don't think the business proposition that you are coming up with here, this is not going to be a hyper fast growth company, very large company. Okay. I don't think that is viable here. You can, you can try to build something small and profitable. It's not going to be easy, but at least you can, that's something that may be viable by tweaking through this and doing lots of experiments and so forth. But I think, this is not going to be a fast growth company.
This cannot be a fast growth company. Okay, excellent. So do you suggest something, because we are in a prototype stage, so any changes or any change we are supposed to make should be the right moment at present?
Well, I don't know what's in the prototype. I don't have visibility into what's in your prototype and what specifically are you trying to build into the prototype. So I can't comment on that right now. All I can say is, in an answer to your question, what would be the best time to seek funding? This may not be a fundable business ever. So
okay.
This doesn't have the characteristics of an institutionally fundable business.
Okay, excellent. Okay, do you mind if I can send the prototype in a video our team presentation today, which would help you to understand better?
Why don't you hang on? I will explain to you how to work with 1 million by 1 million and myself in the next segment. And after you listen to that, you can ask your question. This question you can ask after you've listened to it.
Okay, thank you very much, Shamana, for your time.
You're very welcome. Okay, folks, if you like what we're doing here, please refer 1 million by 1 million to serious entrepreneurs. We're looking for entrepreneurs who really want to build a business and are practical and realistic about it, and are willing to put in the years, not only weeks and months, but years required to build a successful, sustainable business. All resources are at 1mby1m.com. You will find a free blog that is chock full of valuable information. You can learn from that. The Entrepreneur Journeys book series is the next piece of resource that you can learn from. There are 12 volumes of case study-based books where you can learn different aspects of entrepreneurship through. You will also find these free roundtables week after week after week, every week on Thursday mornings. So come and use this platform to learn, ask questions, engage, etc. The full acceleration program for 1 million by 1 million is the 1M Premium program. And that is pretty much the only format in which I will be able to work with you further beyond whatever interaction you had with me just now in your free public roundtable pitch. So if you want to engage with me more, if you want feedback from me, additional feedback, etc., you need to be part of the premium program. So the premium program offers extensive methodology guidance through a full curriculum, an online curriculum that is a case studies and video lectures-based curriculum. We help you with business development where we can, where we have networks. We will make introductions to potential customers, channel partners, etc. We will help you with project-based consulting, just like we were doing right now. We have extensive levels of that kind of project-level, dialogues and guidance and so forth. And that happens in our private roundtables, which are open only to the premium members. And then if you do get to a point where you are fundable, we will help you with financing, not only with introductions, but also with negotiations and so forth. But there is also a process of getting to becoming fundable. A pitch deck that is fundable has to have a certain set of things, and you need to put those things in place, and you need to have the proof points in place to become fundable. So it's not, every business is not fundable, and I'm being very upfront with all of you where I see that you're expecting to get funding, but you are not necessarily, you don't have the characteristics of a fundable business. I'm being very upfront with you to alert you to do that so that you do not build a business with the expectation of funding. Now, some businesses may not be fundable today, but can be made fundable by putting one foot before the other in a such strategic way, and I will advise you accordingly if your business has those characteristics, and then we will shepherd you through that process so that you can get to that point where you are fundable, and then we can open up the funding discussions. And then finally, we have a lot of cloud in the media. So we can get the word out about your business through our social media as well as other online media channels, and that impact is extensive. We have a lot of businesses within our portfolio that benefit tremendously from that media access, and they get customers, they get investor interest, etc., through that process. I would recommend that all of you go put your business through this one-on-one self-assessment. The questionnaire is on the website, and it's free. So there's a set of questions that you need to ask yourselves. You are the #1 investor in your business. And even though these are questions that typically investors would ask you, you need to ask these questions of yourselves. And if you get stuck somewhere in methodology, if there's a question that you don't really understand, you need to learn, you can go do one-on-one basic, which is our curriculum-only offer. That's $99 a month. It's a video lectures and case study-based program. You can do it at your own time, and you can fill your methodology gaps by learning through the one-on-one basic program, and that is just fine. It will get you going. It will get you, in the rhythm of that online learning process, and you can start plugging your knowledge gaps, which you absolutely have to. You have no choice. So go into the website, dig around, look at the different program descriptions, basic, premium, free, etc., and see what part of the program that you want to use. There are lots of FAQs, video FAQs, etc. The curriculum is split into core and electives. The core is a must. There are 7 core blocks, and then there are lots of electives that are industry specific. So you have access to the whole curriculum. If you sign up for basic or premium, you have access to the entire curriculum, and you can pick and choose what you want to use. We teach this program on the basis of input, entrepreneur journeys, case studies, and lots of advice from over 750 successful entrepreneurs. And we bring them to these roundtables from time to time. I mean, every week we bring somebody, but each person comes, once or twice or over a period of time. And these people have done it. So there are 50+ unicorn businesses, entrepreneurs who have built unicorn businesses. There are 400+ heavily venture-funded success stories, and there are 300+ bootstrap success stories. So you will get to basically stand on the shoulders of these people, and the experience simulates, the case study experience simulates the experience of sitting down and having coffee with these people. So you do get to the nitty-gritties of how they put one foot before the other, and that is invaluable. Just that experience of somebody going from 0 to, whatever is their success level, and all the nitty-gritties of how they did it, learning that directly is very, very inspiring. So please, take advantage of that. Don't try to reinvent the wheel yourself every time. Our methodology is lean, capital-efficient, bootstrap startups. If you're going to raise money, you're going to need to bootstrap first and raise money later, just because there's a lot of validation that investors require these days, and if you don't have that in place, you will not be able to raise money, not from smart investors anyway. That's pretty much it. All of March, there are more roundtables, so come back and book your slot with Maureen, and she will make sure that you are scheduled to dialogue with me in one of the upcoming sessions. We have a bit of time to do Q&A, so if you'd like to ask questions in public chat, be sure to set your public chat to send to all participants and type in your questions there, or call in. Whichever way you want to engage is fine. Now is Q&A time. And while you're asking your questions or thinking about it, let me introduce you to Irina Patterson. Irina is your contact point for asking questions about the one-on-one program. If you have any questions whatsoever, please get in touch with Irina, and she will help you resolve whatever is your dilemma. All right, questions, folks? Also, introductions. If you'd like to introduce yourselves, if you've been in the program today and would like to tell us where you're joining from, who you are, what project are you working on, and what are your roadblocks, what issues you're dealing with, please feel free to introduce yourself. This is a very nice time to also network. Anybody? No? Ranjan, did I answer your question about how to work with me further? You want me to look at your prototype? I'll be happy to do so, but you need to be part of the premium program for me to engage with you further. Anybody else? Questions, comments? If not, we're going to wrap up. All right, well, since there are no more questions, we are going to wrap up for today. We'll see you back here next week, same time, same place, 8 a.m. Pacific time. Maureen will give you the join links. Please go ahead and register for the next session, whoever needs the time to pitch, and we will continue this working session. This working session will be available to you every week, barring a few exceptions during holidays or travel. We are here every week working with you, trying to help you move forward. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.